Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Thursday the 21st of September. So we had the Fed meeting out and most things came pretty much in line with expectation there. There is still an element of hawkishness that's coming through, and maybe it was more than the markets expected at the time. However, we can now breathe that sigh of relief that we just got the pound to deal with, or the Bank of England to deal with today. So, in fact, let's just look at what other news we got coming out. If I can click on the calendar there, it's doing an update. That's what I like to see. He says, I thought it was updating. Perhaps it's not. Be good if it updates. So here we go. So New Zealand GDP came out slightly better than expected. Mostly the Fed stuff was pretty much expected. Side of that, and today we got the Swiss National Bank the meeting this morning and policy decision conference coming out during this morning. Expectation of a 0.25% interest rate rise. Doesn't really affect us too much, but you never know. Anyway, it may affect it. It may have a little knock on it to the euro, but I doubt it. Pound, well, that's the biggie. 12 o'clock, and then we've got ECB Lagarde speaking later at 3. Existing home sales. There's a little bit of stuff there which could create a bit of volatility through the afternoon. So let's look at the technicals. Starting off euro dollar, and well, we've seen it's made new low. Looks like it could end up with a bit of a divergence at the what's going on here. In fact, on the shorter time frames, you have a bit of a RSI divergence here, and maybe even, I'm just looking between the lows there, the MACD looks like it's just diverging a bit. So bit of divergence coming through. However, that's not a go off and sell or buy situation in this case. Let's have a look at what's happening here. Well, yesterday it broke its trend eventually after pushing up right into 2 o'clock. Say 2 o'clock, the 2 o'clock bar on the 4 hours, coming off then in the afternoon, evening, coming off at 7 o'clock as expected. Now we're seeing this bounce at the moment. Got an untouched daily pivot. There's a potential for that. I can only be trading this personally. I'm still on the short side, so I'm just going to be waiting to see where and if we get some sort of reversal. If it continues up, it's a start of something new, but it won't be for me. The pound, again, can only be trading this on the short side, so I've got to look for opportunities. Bit risky this morning with the news coming out later. We've seen a similar sort of action to what's happening on the euro there, so not much can do there. US dollar yen, where we did manage in the end to break the new highs into new near-term highs here, and it's struggling a little bit, digesting the news perhaps, and the markets here again. There's potential for this to roll back, but for now I'll leave it. Aussie dollar. So the Aussie dollar having a bit of a correction yesterday. I mean, it was doing pretty well, shooting up there, corrected, and it has corrected overnight there. Now I just caught a glimpse of something going on with the central bank, and that might be not helping things. But I haven't fully read the article, so anyway. Looking soft again, catching the bounce here. I couldn't be on anything but a short side, and it's just not looking like it's setting for me at the moment. Canadian dollar did well for quite a bit yesterday. It was coming back off south, doing quite a nice intraday movement, but the news was due, and it bounced on the news, and it's bouncing at the moment. It's broken above its the trend that was sitting here. Yesterday I just dragged it back down a little bit further. It's broken back off that. into its R1. It's done most of things at the moment. I'm still thinking this could roll back over again, but I'll have to wait and see now. It's confirmed this higher low and broken the trend, so structurally it could be on for more of a change in terms of what it was doing. It was outperforming against the dollar compared to everything else, but it might continue in this original longer term move there. So we've sort of structurally we've had a bit of a change, could be back into that longer term, but I shall again patience. New Zealand dollar here, just it's been quite messy. It's doing similar to the Aussie. I won't go into great detail on it, but it does look like it could break down through my trend line there. Got an alert sitting there waiting for it to go. Dollar Swissy, well, we got the Swiss news out this morning, so there's not a lot of point really looking at that. Some cross pairs then. Euro yen, well, still hanging around these highs here, and it's as I said yesterday, it sits in this range. It's looking like it could get back up to the highs at the moment from the 4-hourly picture, but below the daily pivot, etc. There is scope. It's put higher lows in, although done this ugly patch here. We'll see how it goes, but there is scope for the upside still on that. Euro pound, for those that are trading the euro pound, had gone in. I mentioned it yesterday, actually, I believe. Run into its quarterly pivot there, retracing off it at the moment. We'll see how it develops. This could all change later today again because of the pound. Structurally, there's quite a nice. I'm looking at something here, some potential. So I'm looking at this to start with, but then looking at what might come through somewhere here. So you see the trend line. I'm just waiting. If it breaks this low here, it's put a lower high in, and I would expect a bigger correction. Now, I wouldn't be trying to trade this before the Bank of England data's out, but it might give us a bit of a picture for a move later. To say it structurally, it's on the verge of changing. It's into some quite key resistance, so could switch back again. Euro Aussie, carefully timed exit of this move yesterday. One of the things when you've got central banks, sometimes it's just as well, particularly with the Fed, to clear out. I cleared out yesterday and it rallied, so I was quite pleased with that movement. But I was short on this, and I'm looking at, well, at the moment it's not really setting me another short up. It's ranging, I guess, and it sits in this range that's double topping and back into these prior highs. Maybe if it starts correcting, it'll be a bit more interesting. Euro CAD, well, the euro's catching a bit of a bounce here, but the actual trend there is very much to the downside. And again, for me, this is a patience game, just to see if it can roll over. So, not anything immediately that I'm seeing setting up. I need to have some patience because I'm not going to be trading against these bigger trends. I know that everyone thinks, well, this is a chance to get in there and be first in, but first in is often first out, don't forget. So watch out. Not all these things work out and you just end up with waiting. I'd rather be in after a while. So got a bit of patience, or needed a bit of patience, I should say, for these markets as I'm looking at them at the moment. Right, okay, that's where we are there. Let's just switch markets for a moment. Indices, actually before we look at the indices, look at gold. What's going on here? Well, not a great deal. It reacted yesterday to actually I might put that on afterwards, or was that already there? I think it should have been there. Anyway, it might be a bit of intraday placement, but not the most decisive here at this stage. I'm just looking. Bear flag on the hourly time frame here. It had moved up there. Bigger picture, well, it's in this wedge here. It could just come back off to the lower line there as a target, but not liking it at the moment too much. Pretty chart, but that's about it. Crude, It's typical. Goldman Sachs are talking it up, and the price of crude is coming off. So they're looking, actually, it's only right that I look at Brent crude on here. Now, for my one here is showing 90, around about $92.50 at the moment. They're now suggesting a $100 ceiling or $100 target. Could easily do that in terms of what it has been doing, but I'd need to see some sort of reversal in this, and this possibility. It has put a lower high in, though. It's broken its weekly pivot, and it's just looking that bit softer at the moment, so I would have to tread carefully. There's all the mess from yesterday evening there kicking through. It did, as ever, at 2 o'clock start its breakout there, but didn't get too far. Okay, that's gold. That's oil even. Quick look at the US indices first. So selling off on the Fed report really yesterday has put lower highs into me. This looks a bit on the soft side. It's, if you come out of this, it's come here. It's sort of, you can see the pattern a little bit more, and it's got scope, but it wasn't the news that the markets really wanted, equity market traders really wanted yesterday. The continued hawkishness and the expectations of more growth, persistent inflation. So it at the moment looking a tad on the softer side. It would just watch this carefully and see if we get a reversal. If it comes all the way back to the pivot, it's a possibility. Daily pivot is a possibility. Look at, see how it shapes up. If it gets that far, well, yeah, it could be okay. Other markets there, then the Dow, I mean, they're very similar patterns. And Nasdaq is also, they've all fallen over, all got a chance of a bit more continuation by the looks of things. The DAX, just look at the DAX then. DAX is still within this. Okay, we'll look at the FTSE first. It's changed back on what I was looking at. So we're sitting pretty close to these price highs. The reaction of the Bank of England today is going to have an effect on this, so I'd probably steer clear anyway. It could well roll back within its range. It's technically, that's what it's looking like. Moving back to the DAX then, and the DAX remains in this horrible choppy state. And well, it's back towards its lows again. Maybe we just break through here. We might get something a little bit more, but we could just end up in a bit of a range play. So nothing particularly clear for me there at this stage. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. I wish you a great day's trading. Just a reminder, if you're watching this, if you want to come and join the room for a week, just there's a link on the YouTube site there for you to come and join me next week. So there we are. Have a good day today, and I'll catch you later.